Joining us now is Research Fellow at the Institute of Public Affairs, Mia Schlicht. Mia, thank you for joining us. Let's start with the UK and the protests that took place last weekend, where we saw mothers dressed in pink demonstrating outside a migrant hotel in London. Hundreds of people were there. They were heard chanting "Save our kids" outside the Britannia International Hotel in Canary Wharf. Take a look. So this was what it looked like before the protest was then hijacked by masked thugs who then set off flares and clashed with police. But this hotel is not cheap. A standard room reportedly costs as much as £425 a night. So, Mia, it seems that there's really this frustration that the government is splashing taxpayer dollars on luxury hotels for illegal immigrants. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think people really are quite frustrated with how the UK government is treating this issue at the moment. I mean, we saw this protest, it started out peacefully, and then unfortunately it was hijacked by some very, very angry groups of people, and then there was some public backlash against that. But unfortunately, this anger that we're seeing, it's a symptom of people who are so frustrated that the political class is just not listening to them, and it's not listening to their concerns. And what the worry here is that in Australia, we are very, very close to following this path of the UK. We have this out-of-control migration intake. We're not building enough houses. And as a result of that, the standard of living is falling for both Australians and people who want to come to this country. Now, Australia is a very welcoming and a very tolerant nation, but we have to do these things carefully. It has to be planned for. It needs to have the consent of the community. Otherwise, Australia is at risk of following down the path of the UK.
Look, while we're talking about the UK, there are concerns that the UK's Online Safety Act is at risk of seriously infringing free speech. Elon Musk's social media platform X says that lawmakers made a conscientious decision to increase censorship. The statement says many are now concerned that the plan intended to keep children safe is at risk of seriously infringing on the public's right to free expression. Now, the government has firmly rejected calls to reverse the legislation. It insists that the act is to protect children from harmful content online. But public opposition to this has really grown significantly. An online petition demanding the Act's repeal has attracted more than 400,000 signatures. Mia, do you have concerns that this Safety Act, this Online Safety Act, it might be well-intentioned, but it will infringe on free speech?
I absolutely have concerns about this, and I have to agree with Elon Musk that this is a heavy-handed approach, and it's an approach to censorship. I mean, there's no doubt that the political class has motivations to censor what they see online, because what's happening is the mainstream population is waking up to the fact that our traditional mainstream media outlets are full of bias, they're full of ideology, so they're turning to online platforms like social media in some attempt to engage in a different kind of discourse. And what the political class is seeing is they're thinking, I've got to censor this and control the debate, as they're doing with mainstream media outlets. Now, this happens time and time again. They say it's done in the name of safety. And I think everyone can agree that we want to keep our children safe, but this isn't the way to do it. It's a path to censorship. And we see it with time and time again with things like we call it climate safe or COVID safe. And each time we use this word safe, it's code for government censorship.
I completely agree with you. Looking at the global implications of this, Politico reports that the UK's Office of Communications, which is enforcing this Online Safety Act, has already sent letters to at least 3 websites that are operating outside of the UK, demanding that they conduct harmful speech audits. The letters note that failure to comply could result in imprisonment for a term of up to 2 years or a fine or both. I mean, 2 years imprisonment, that is a serious punishment. But I have to play you what UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said about free speech. It was very awkward.
We discussed the importance of free speech today.
Well, free speech is very important. I don't know if you're referring to any place in particular. Perhaps they are, but
we've had free speech for a very, very long time here, so we're very proud about that.
So uncomfortable. He was so awkward there, trying to pretend that that's something he believes in. But as you point out, we should also look to what's happening here in Australia, because from December 2025, a world-first social media ban will be locking out under 16s out of social media platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, X, Snapchat, and YouTube. If you're under 16, you won't be able to use it. The Albanese government claims that it's, of course, again, shielding kids from harmful content online. But again, there are these concerns around surveillance, and this could be a slippery slope to censorship.
Well, that's exactly right. And there is so much bracket creep on this stuff. I mean, previously the e-safety commissioner was called the child e-safety commissioner, and now she's the e-safety commissioner in general. Like, there's just no limitations to the kind of powers that these groups impose on themselves. And as I said, it's bracket creep. It goes further and further down the line. Not to mention, there's actually no way of even enforcing these new laws. I mean, it's a Trojan horse for digital ID. And the Australian government keeps falling down this path. We saw it. They're censorious in nature. We saw it with the misinformation bill last year that was thankfully rejected in the end, but they can't help themselves.